So, Peacemaker Season 1 was surprisingly good. It surpassed our expectations and built a whole franchise with a real future for the DCU. But what about Season 2? What's with all the negative buzz, the boring plots, the shorter episodes, and that feeling like watching it makes you taste a bird's shit? Today, we're going to find out what the hell happened to Peacemaker Season 2. Let's get started with James Gunn's current situation. As of now, DC is reportedly planning to merge the DCU with Paramount. It's still unclear if a new CEO is coming in, but we're all really curious how this will affect the Man of Tomorrow movie, which is about to start production soon. Meanwhile, in the current state of the DC world, we're seeing the new status of Argus. After the Starfish Project revelation that exposed Amanda Waller and led to her being dethroned, the organization is now under new leadership. Director Rick Flag Sr. I'll talk more about him later and share my thoughts on how his character was handled in this series, but for now, let's move on to the critiques. Some reviews have been pretty mixed among DCU fans, but one thing's for sure. John Cena is still the best part of the show. He delivered a full-on emotional performance, especially in that final episode where he screams like a child while taking down his Earth-X brother. Still, he didn't exactly carry the franchise on his own. But for me, overall, it was still a good season. I'll admit, the first season was definitely funnier, but we still got a few laughable moments here and there, like the whole Eagle plot and how Eagly became the Prime Eagle, even getting his own nemesis, a bird hunter named Red Saint Wild, played by Michael Rooker. I think his character was hilarious. And that bird blindness skit, at first I found it kind of cringy, but as it went on, it actually became really funny. Same thing with the new intro. At first I was like, meh, because honestly, nothing can replace the iconic first season song, Do You Want to Taste It by Wigwam, but nope. As the series went on, I actually thought the Oh Lord intro by Foxy Shazam was even better. The bonding between the characters definitely got tighter this season, with some really emotional scenes shared by the 11th Street kids. We were pulled more into their personal and emotional struggles than any major action plots. With the Earth X storyline, nothing really big happened until episode 6 when they finally revealed that it was a Nazi universe. I mean, they could have easily revealed that by episode 2 or maybe episode 3. Honestly, a lot of people, including myself, felt like this entire plot could have been told in just 4 or maybe 5 episodes. It was a real slow burn for me. But to be fair, exploring Earth X was actually done better here than whatever multiverse story we got in Doctor Strange 2. It really captured what makes that universe different from the main Earth. Discovering that Peacemaker was the hero there and that both his father and brother were still alive. When the Nazi world was revealed in episode 6, I honestly thought things were about to go full on dark, like riots, chaos, or even genocide. I was expecting someone major to die. Aside from the deaths of Red Saint Wild and some of the Argus team, I thought they'd take it further, maybe even kill off one of the main characters to show the real danger of this new dimension. I really expected maybe Judo Master would die, but no, we didn't get any major deaths here except for the dad who technically already died before. It just feels like the same issues from season 1 are still lingering and they didn't really affect the new story. That's why I honestly think this season could have been wrapped up in less than 8 episodes. On another note, we got to see more of the impact of Argus falling apart and how Rick Flag Sr. now holds authority, using that power to deal with even bigger threats. But honestly, I think Rick Flag Sr. should have been more menacing than Amanda Waller. His first scene and his emotional moments were great, but as the season went on, he just started to feel weak for me. He should have been a superior type, someone easily corrupted, especially after losing his son. But no, instead we got a version of him that felt soft. He literally hooked up with his cyborg assistant. Like, am I watching a soap opera right now? I wanted something that made him terrifying. Maybe show the cyborg assistant's point of view while she's secretly betraying him, feeling terrified and conflicted. Then, when she tries to regain his trust, he already knows she's been deceiving him. Imagine a version of Flag who's psychologically sharp, brutal, and emotionally unreadable. Someone who, when he finds out about the betrayal, tortures her in a cold, calculated way. That's the kind of menace I wanted to see. But nope, we didn't get that either. And honestly, I think they could have gone with a stronger actor for the role. I mean, Frank Grillo is good, don't get me wrong, but he's kind of stuck in his comfort zone, usually playing a goon or a hired assassin in most of his films. His biggest superhero role so far was as Crossbones, and even there, he didn't really get much room to show range. There were just parts of his scenes here that felt flat for me, especially when compared to the kind of intimidating, commanding energy Viola Davis brought as Amanda Waller. Now, this actually makes me more excited for the upcoming Waller series. I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of the best DCU shows yet, especially since Viola Davis, as we all know, is an incredible and versatile actress. And speaking of soap operas, we really noticed that Peacemaker didn't feature much of his full on costume this season, especially since John Cena has been proudly wearing and embodying that Peacemaker look in almost every interview. It's kind of surprising that we barely saw that iconic beacon of hope helmet, the very symbol of who Peacemaker is, in a show literally called Peacemaker. It feels like we were just there to follow his internal struggles, his love life, and his family issues, which honestly didn't feel like the focus of a superhero series. I was really hoping that maybe by the finale he'd wear the costume again, fully embracing his true identity as Peacemaker. It would have been even cooler if Rick Flag Sr. trapped him while he was wearing the costume, symbolizing that even though Chris Smith may have grown and found fulfillment, he still can't escape the identity of Peacemaker, the man both hated and seen as a villain by many. In that ending scene, it reveals a massive addition to the DCU, an alternate Earth introduced by Rick Flag Sr., known as the Salvation. This world serves as a secured counterpart to the main Earth, functioning as a high-level cosmic prison for metahumans and villains. It's a brilliant substitute for Belle Reve and Arkham, since we all know how often inmates escape from those facilities. But this new world, calm, peaceful, almost too perfect, hides a deeper purpose. In the comics, this idea is actually inspired by DC's Salvation Run, written by Bill Willingham and Matthew Sturgis, with art by Sean Chen, and released between 2007 and 2008. It's one of DC's most brutal and chaotic storylines, a survival tale that begins when the US government finally decides it's done dealing with supervillains. No more prisons, no rehabilitation, just exile. They launch a top secret operation called Project Salvation designed to send the world's most dangerous villains to a hostile alien planet. No trial, no redemption arc, just good luck surviving out there, losers. Dozens of villains are teleported to this deadly world filled with monsters, traps, and impossible terrain. From there, the story dives into pure chaos. The villains turn against one another, forming factions and fighting for dominance. On one side, you have Lex Luthor, cold, strategic, and determined to build a new society through logic and control. On the other side stands the Joker, unpredictable, chaotic, and hell-bent on spreading madness. Caught between them are villains like Harley Quinn, Cheetah, Gorilla Grodd, Deadshot, and Captain Cold, all struggling just to stay alive. As the chaos unfolds, Luthor starts doing what he does best, scheming. He begins constructing a teleporter from alien technology, hoping to find a way back to Earth while everyone else is too busy tearing each other apart. Then comes the big reveal. This so-called prison planet isn't random. It's part of Apocalypse, the home world ruled by Darkseid. And the terrifying part, Darkseid is watching all of it happen, like a twisted reality show from hell. Darkseid, created by the legendary Jack Kirby, is one of DC's most powerful and feared cosmic beings, a godlike tyrant obsessed with control and domination. Often compared to Thanos, but far more ruthless, Darkseid was once set to be the main villain of Zack Snyder's DC universe before those plans were cancelled. But now, under James Gunn's DCU, we might finally see a reimagined version of him, more layered, more political, and more terrifying than ever. This reveal of the Salvation isn't just a cool twist, it's a setup for something massive. If Salvation Run serves as the foundation and Darkseid is the next looming threat, then the DCU might be laying the groundwork for a grand cosmic war. The pieces are moving, the villains are gathering, and the board is being set. Whatever comes next, it's clear this is only the beginning of the chaos. With this episode's finale, we also get to see the formation of a new organization by the 11th Street Kids called Checkmate. Checkmate first appeared in the late 1980s, created by Paul Kupperberg and Steve Irwin, and from the start, it wasn't your typical superhero team. Instead of capes and powers, Checkmate is about intelligence, espionage, and moral gray areas. Think of them as the DC version of Marvel's S.H.I.E.L.D., but darker, way more political, and not afraid to get their hands dirty. The whole organization works like an actual chess game. You've got your king, the leader of the faction, queens serve as their top lieutenants, and then bishops, knights, rooks, and pawns, each representing levels of power and responsibility inside the agency. There are two sides, the white side, which represents lawful and diplomatic operations, and the black side, which handles, well, the more off-the-record missions. Over the years, Checkmate's roster has been stacked with heavy hitters. We're talking Amanda Waller, Maxwell Lord, Sasha Bordeaux, and even Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern. At one point, Waller used Checkmate to control the Suicide Squad, while Maxwell Lord used it to spy on metahumans, leading to one of DC's most controversial moments when he straight up kills Blue Beetle, Ted Cord, after Ted discovered his plans. And so, whether you see them as protectors or manipulators, one thing's for sure: Checkmate is one of DC's most underrated and dangerous organizations, always watching, always planning, and always a few moves ahead. James Gunn later clarified that this isn't just a throwaway Easter egg. The introduction of Checkmate and the Salvation is a real setup for what's coming next. He confirmed that this organization will remain a key part of the DCU's foundation, expanding into future storylines and shaping the darker, more strategic side of the universe. All of this might even appear in the upcoming Man of Tomorrow movie. And honestly, I'm hoping Peacemaker shows up there too. I mentioned that in this video. Bye.